This is fine. It's been a pretty rough week for VR. And if you've been around VR for a while, like I have, this probably feels like whiplash. And if you're newer to the space, this week might be a little confusing. But today, I wanted to talk about the meta layoffs and break down what actually happened, why it happened, what this means for the future of VR, and what this means for the future of the channel. So what's happened and why is every VR YouTuber making a doom and gloom video? Well, we already knew that Meta was planning to do layoffs across its reality labs division, but I don't think most of us expected how brutal and wide-reaching this ended up being. Over the last few days, Meta has shut down 3 major VR game studios that they had previously acquired. It was Twisted Pixel, who was best known for Deadpool VR, which just came out, Sanzaru Games, who are the creator of Asgard's Wrath, great series, and Armature Studio, who are behind Resident Evil 4 VR. And these weren't tiny experimental teams, these were studios responsible for some of the most high-profile and well-received VR games on the Quest. On top of that, Camouflage reportedly saw layoffs, and apparently a Batman VR sequel was cancelled as well. And also, apparently Supernatural had layoffs as well, with reports that apparently they're not getting any more content for the game. Meta is also shutting down Horizon workrooms, and the Quest for Business program is being wound down as well. However you feel about Meta as a company, my heart genuinely goes out to everyone affected by this. This is people's livelihoods, and it sucks. But why did this happen? Well, here's my read, and this is just an opinion, not inside info. I think Meta took a big gamble on VR. And as much as many of us wanted it to work exactly as planned, I don't think that gamble fully played off. At the same time, Meta's other bets, like AI and smart glasses, are showing much clearer paths to scale and revenue. That doesn't mean Meta is ditching VR. I think what's actually happening is a recalibration. VR has always been niche. Meta tried to push it mainstream fast. And the reality is VR still has some very real friction points. No amount of money magically fixes headset comfort, friction to entry, or motion sickness for a chunk of users. And personally, I struggle to sink dozens of hours into long story-driven games while wearing a heavy standalone headset. And I don't think I'm alone there. And I love VR, but pretending these issues don't exist doesn't help anyone. Where I think Meta may have misjudged things is premium VR games on Quest. They don't seem to perform at the scale Meta likely wanted, especially compared to their development costs. And at the same time, free-to-play and social VR is thriving. While people online scream VR is dead, games like VR Chat and Gorilla Tag just set a new record for the most concurrent users. So VR is definitely not dead on that account. So people are playing VR, just not always the premium blockbuster stuff. From a business perspective, it's not surprising that that's where Meta is doubling down. I think the VR gold rush is over, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And here's my hot take. I personally think some of the best and most innovative VR games came from when VR was still a weird niche hobby. Think about it. There's games like Superhot, Job Simulator, Beat Saber, Blade and Sorcery, Waltz of the Wizard, VR Chat. All of these existed before Meta was ever a major force in VR. Money can buy big IP, it can buy studios, but it can't buy innovation. And honestly, with the gold rush slowing down, I'm hopeful we might see smaller, riskier, more creative VR projects again. So what happens next? Well, short term, sadly, I think studios and investors are spooked. I've already heard quiet talk of teams scaling back, and it wouldn't surprise me if post-Christmas numbers didn't hit expectations. With no new headset last year, I think we've seen a bunch of new users, but I don't know how it compares to previous years. And medium term, I think we're going to see more focus on PC VR, specifically Steam VR and Steam Frame, which I'm very excited about. I think enthusiasts are likely to lean harder into that ecosystem and maybe feeling a bit burnt by Meta, maybe. And as for hardware, I personally wouldn't be shocked if we still see a Quest 4 this year. I have no inside info, that's just my guess, and I don't think Meta is leaving VR. I think they're just narrowing their focus, especially towards younger and social-first audiences. So that's my prediction. So this definitely isn't a VR is dead video. I think Meta is still very committed to VR, and I think we're going to continue to still see lots of stuff. But whether it's the stuff you want or I want, I don't know about that. But what does all of this mean for the channel? Well, nothing really. I just wanted to chat about some channel changes. As you might have noticed, I took a bit of a break from YouTube for a while, and that was mostly due to ongoing neck issues, which I think I'm finally getting on top of. It's getting there, and it means I can actually be consistent with content again. Creatively though, I've been wanting to pivot for a while, less like chasing trend stuff, and I really wanted to pivot to the more mature, tech-focused, commentary-driven VR content. I kind of felt a bit stuck in trying to be like kid-friendly because I saw my audience just become more and more kids, so I kind of felt a bit stuck, like I had to do that stuff. But really, I wanted to do more kind of mature VR, nerdy tech content. And so far, it's going all right. And I'm still very much committed to VR, especially with things like the Steam Frame coming out. I'm very excited for that. I'm excited to check out some other VR headsets as well. And of course, helping you actually find good VR games that are worth your time. I'm also open to branching out slightly, like the smart glasses stuff. I'm not fully sold on them, but they are interesting. I wouldn't mind dabbling a little bit. I've also been uploading a lot more personal stuff and kind of VR industry unfiltered opinions to YouTube memberships if that's of interest as well. But I really want to hear from you guys. What videos would you like to see next? Do you want VR focused stuff, tech adjacent content, or something totally different? Let me know in the comments. I do read them. And yeah, it's a pretty weird time for VR, but I'm in it for the long haul. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.